Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast once again. I'm Josh Evanoff. He is Andy Ortega. There is a lot to talk about today, guys. A lot on the agenda. Obviously, we've got to go over UFC 261, UFC Vegas 25, a little bit of NFL news, a little bit of boxing as well. Before we get into that, I'll talk to you guys about this amazing sponsor for today, Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy was founded in January 2017 to be the best gaming drink in the world. They developed a premium stack in the form of a delicious energy and focus drink. It's designed to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and nutritional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. They designed Rogue Energy for the emerging professional and competitive gaming market and continue to have fantastic carryover and success with students, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone looking to optimize their mental and physical performance. If you win 10% off your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. That's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Last Saturday night, from the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in front of a packed house of 15,269 adoring fans, the UFC returned with an amazing card. Some are calling it one of the greatest cards of all time. In the main event, Kamaruddin Usman knocking out Jorge Masvidal in the rematch. Obviously, Usman saying that he wanted to go ahead and get that one back. He did not feel good. In the words of GSP, he was not satisfied with his performance. He put it on him, man. Just round one, I'd say, was pretty back and forth. I did give it to Usman. Masvidal had his success, but dude, Usman, he just kept on landing that right hand. Eventually, he found it in the second round. He didn't just he looked like he was punching through Masvidal. That was one of the hardest right hands I've ever seen, creating an insane scene. As Masvidal only getting stopped for the second time in his career via strikes, like falling on to Usman, like out cold, dude. I mean, what do you think about the main event? And what were just your overall takeaways just from the destruction from Kamaru Usman?
You know, I talked about this way back, dude, when he first got introduced to, the camp Trevor Whitman, and they started integrating him and kind of the ability and skills he would be able to develop at a certain point. And granted, at the end of the day, Trevor Whitman can be there and tell him everything, but he has to put in the work. And, I got to respect him, man, because I told you, the skills are going to develop and they're going to get better. And that's the one man I fear on that night. And look, man, it's there. It's shown. It's proven. He's leveled up. He's at that point now where it's like, hey, if I'm going to fight, a striker, I'm going to take you down. If I'm going to fight a wrestler, I'm going to keep you on the feet. He's at that point now where he's capable of doing that. And he's, he's just a threat everywhere now. He's still not he's not Wonderboy Thompson, Israel Adesanya level, and he doesn't have to be, right? But he just has to be better than the other guy on that night. And he was better than Jorge Masvidal on that night, man. I mean, we know he had that power because, dude, we just see how easy these takedowns and dude, there was a moment in there, I don't know if you remember, but he faked a takedown real quick and came back up. It was one of the fastest movement I had ever seen on a fake takedown, dude. I loved it. And the technique he used, and even Masvidal, man, ended up praising him for it. It's just awesome, man, to see his growth. Because honestly, I was never, I shouldn't say, I never enjoyed watching him a lot. I'll be quite honest with you. I never gained a lot out of watching him. I thought, yeah, good champion, he's doing it, but on to the next.
It's really the foot stomps, isn't it?
I mean, sure, probably, maybe, I don't know. It's a number of things. I mean, I don't know. For me, I like a champ to be entertaining, maybe it doesn't have to have a fan friendly style, but I enjoy a good personality, right? And it's at the end of the day, it's just what I like, and he doesn't have to accommodate for what I want, but it's just stuff that I personally enjoy. And now that he's, like I said, he's leveled up, and he's this version of himself, I gotta respect it, dude. I gotta respect it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you said it best. He leveled up. I mean, this is a dude who, he came to the UFC really, really raw. I mean, it's so weird to think about because it was so long ago at this point that he actually came into the UFC. But, I mean, he was, 6 fights in whenever he got into the Ultimate Fighter, and he just dominated the entire way, slowly getting better. But even up until, I'd say, a year ago, his striking was very, very bare bones. He was just a dude that had a great gas tank and really good grappling. I mean, he hit hard, but he didn't hit often. He kind of just wang a lot of punches. But dude, you saw it in the Burns fight. He was slowly developing just a tremendous jab. He's starting to leverage his shots more. And the Masvidal fight, man, I mean, it was the pinnacle. I mean, he truly showed that he's a dude who, he's not just a grappler. He truly is showing that he does have the skills to stand with the strikers and knock them out, as well as out-grapple the grapplers, dude. He is tremendous everywhere that the fight goes. And now we're looking at a situation. He said, I want to get your thoughts on this because this just came out yesterday. He said he was to come back again. And this is a dude who has already fought twice in 2021. And he's historically a guy who's not been very active. You know, 1 fight in 2020, 2 fights in 2019. Just historically a dude who's not been active as of late. However, he wants to come back again for UFC 263 in June. And he wants to fight Michael Chiesa. Does that fight interest you at all?
I mean, it's someone he hasn't fought. I mean, it's someone different. And Chiesa's one of those guys who, honestly, I want to see in that position. I don't want to preview it now. I don't want to give my opinion on it too much deeply. But, I mean, the matchup's interesting. We got to give credit to Kamaru, man, because he fought Masvidal. Masvidal came in on short notice. He still took the fight back in July. And, dude, earlier this year, he fought Gilbert Burns in February. He beat Jorge in April. And now we're sitting here, and he's looking at the idea of fighting again. I mean, that's honestly 4 really quick fights in a short time for a champ.
Mm-hmm. Does that interest you more than a potential Covington rematch would?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's a new face.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't it?
Fair enough. I feel like we're the only 2 people on the planet who kind of have that opinion, because I saw that obviously Ali Abdelaziz, his manager, was having an interview with Brett Okamoto, and basically he's the one who went ahead and said it, and that Colby doesn't deserve the rematch. And I mean, I kind of agree with him. I mean, it's just I think Chiesa's streak is far more impressive than Colby's. I get why they're not going to make that fight. I would love to see them do it. Now, is it possible that Colby has discussions with the UFC and they end up sliding in Chiesa because there's an issue? Absolutely. Just because historically that's what the UFC does, and Colby's has issues with the UFC anytime they try to book a fight. There's always money problems, but we'll see. As far as the co-main event is concerned, man, Jesus Christ, whenever Rose Namajunas is on, she's one of the greatest fighters it's women's fighters we've ever seen in the Octagon, as far as I'm concerned. And she defeated communism, knocking out Zhang Weili inside of a minute and 18 seconds at UFC 261. Landing a head kick. Zhang came out early. I liked her strategy. She was going for those leg kicks, trying to slow down. Because Rose, I mean, she has gas tank issues normally, but she was trying to chop her down early, and I thought she had a great strategy. No, man. Zhang went in for that leg kick, stepped back. Rose, it looked like a question mark kick going upstairs, knocking her down. It looked like she was out before she hit the ground. She woke up on the ground, though. Rose with some not follow-up strikes, and that was it. Rose Namajunas and new once again. What were your thoughts on Rose's performance in the co-main?
Dude, I did not see that coming, and it was crazy. The build-up from the start of the card to that point was it just kept peaking, and then the way it followed it up with the Kamaru fight was insane. I can give credit to Rose, man. She came out there and did it. I know Weili will be back. I mean, you got to think about it. Last time Weili lost, she won 21 straight fights. What's going to happen now that she's reached this level? She's hungry, and, she's had the title and defended it before. You know what I mean? That's a dangerous person, in my opinion. In this division, Josh, I can see this belt being switched up. I can see a lot of competitive fights. A lot of people here who are chasing it. We got Mackenzie Dern. You got Yan Xiaonan. We got Weili. Honestly, Joanna's still in the mix. You got to give her credit. Carla Esparza not far off from it. And Tatiana Suarez is going to come back at some point. So she's undefeated. And you got to give her credit. And, obviously there's always going to be girls who are coming up and hungry and dangerous. This is not like the flyweight division or the bantamweight division or even the featherweight division that for some reason still exists. This is a very competitive women's division. And I can see, not too long from now us saying, hey, and new, very soon.
Yeah, man. I mean, whenever it comes to Rose, it seems like whenever she has everything together, she's such a dominant force. But for various reasons, it doesn't seem like she has it together a lot of the time, or not all the time, I should say. Just out of the cage stuff and sometimes in the cage stuff, because she after she lost the belt, she said she wanted to retire. She took a lot of time off. As far as that goes, man, I agree with you. I think Zhang Weili will be back. I mean, it's important to keep this in perspective, dude. She was champion, defended the belt, she won the belt, defended the belt, and was champ all within the span of less than 2 years. She came into UFC 227 in August 2018. She defended the belt March 2020, dude. Like she did all that within the span of 2 years. She's a tremendous fighter. I'm sure she'll be back. I personally like to see they run this fight back.
Yeah. At some point.
Maybe even next, because it's important to consider. I think as far as contenders right now, Tatiana's still hurt. And then we're looking at Carla Esparza potentially next, as well as Zhang Zhenan, because obviously they're having that fight relatively soon. I think depending on who wins that and how that fight goes, we'll see that person next for Rose. But even then, if they decide to go Zhang next, I'd be cool with it. But then I'm also a Zhang Weili stan. I'm straight up unabashed. Like she's awesome, and I like to see her run that fight back, because this fight does have a lot of potential to be just such an awesome fight. And I think we kind of it got stopped before we get to see such an amazing fight play out. But that being said, though, amazing performance by Rose, champ once again, and we'll see what happens from here. But you mentioned the flyweight division, and that kind of insinuated that it's not competitive. Still not competitive, not even slightly. Jessica Andrade, former 115 champ. Obviously, she did lose the belt in dramatic fashion to Zhang a couple of years ago. And then she lost to Rose. However, she did make her successful flyweight debut back in October 2020 against one of the top fighters in the division, Caitlin Chukagian. That sentence, just depressing. But regardless, she did beat Caitlin Chukagian. And she stepped up. A lot of people thought, this is going to be one of Valentina Shevchenko's biggest challenges. And it seemed on paper that it should be. Betting odds suggested that. She was only a 5-1 favorite, as compared to a 21-1 favorite for her last title fight. But dude, not even competitive. This is a worse beatdown than I'd argue all of her title defenses, because at least Jessica Ai hung in there for a round. She was not getting outclassed. Joanna took off a round or two. Carmouche took off a round. Caitlin Chukagian, not a whole lot happened before the finish. You know what I mean? Jennifer Mai took a round. Jessica Andrade got beat from pillar to post for all of that fight, dude. Just brutalizing her on the ground, in the clinch, getting the knockout, TKO, via elbows inside the second round. What were your thoughts of Shevchenko's performance? And, where do we go from here, dude?
Dude, I think she was angry, dude, after her last performance, and people were saying, like, it wasn't, she should have finished Jennifer Maia, or it should have been more impressive of a win, or whatever, right? I don't know if you remember, there was some comments like that around that time when that happened. And I think she kind of took that anger out on Jessica, dude, because she caught her to that crucifix, dude, and it was a nightmare for her, and there was nothing she could do about it. You and me were both on the train that, like, Valentina had this easily. There was no doubt in her mind that she was going to come out victorious.
Yeah, man. I had zeroed out. I did think it might have been more competitive. I thought Andrade was probably going to go for it. And traditionally do what she does, man. She's a little monster. She's a little tank. She just kind of walks forward, and she'll take 5 punches to get 2 huge ones in. That's just who she is. But, man, not now. Not this fight. Shevchenko never allowed her to get started. Pure dominance, man. Lauren Murphy next, maybe? This division is just, it's depressing, dude. And it's not even because...
It should be. She has a fight coming up. Hopefully she wins it for her sake, so she can get that title shot guaranteed. But, man, my man DC out there, when they said Lauren Murphy was an option, laughed. I'm like, man, DC, why are you going to be disrespectful like that?
Look, man, Lauren Murphy, I'll give her credit, dude. I was never that high on her coming off of The Ultimate Fighter. But, dude, she's turned into a little, she's putting on a nice run. Do I think she's going to provide a whole lot? No, but she is scrappy. She's pretty well-rounded. It could be fun. It probably won't be. I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't think it will probably be very competitive. Does she deserve the title shot next? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Just taking a look at it, isn't she fighting Joanne Calderwood next?
I believe so.
So, and Calderwood was supposed to fight for the title before she stepped in against Jennifer Maia. So, I think winner that should get a title shot. I think it'd be more interesting if it was Joanne Calderwood. I just think she brings more to the table. But yeah, she's fighting it too. Those two are fighting in a month from now. So winner of that gets title shot next. Okay, we'll see that. But as far as the rest of the
December.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the card goes, man, look.
We gotta keep going down, man.
There's no other way to go ahead and say this. We're living in the weirdest timeline imaginable. I said back, I've said before, 2016 broke the timeline. Everything that year, just everything since that's been weird. Chris Weidman defeated Uriah Hall back in September of 2010. He came into the UFC, went on an amazing run. UFC 162, knocked out Anderson Silva. And the rematch, UFC 168, December of 2013, Anderson Silva broke his leg while Chris Weidman checked a kick. Weidman obviously would go on to have a fantastic career, and then he would meet Uriah Hall in 2021. Uriah Hall was the last person to defeat Anderson Silva, after Weidman was the first to defeat Anderson Silva in the UFC. Chris Weidman proceeded to break his leg on Uriah Hall in the same exact fashion 8 years later. Dude, what the fuck? This was just was just devastating, dude. I mean, you and I wanted this fight for Uriah for a long time. We wanted to see Uriah get his deserved due, man. I mean, this dude has been putting in the work for a long time just for the fight to go like that. I mean, what can you even say about that situation?
It's so depressing. It's so saddening because it's just like not the way you want to see someone go out, man. Not at all. And I talked about like the whole storyline leading into that fight, Josh. And it's crazy that I said it. I made those comments, and for it to come full circle on that night like that was one of the craziest things. As I'm sitting there, and as soon as it happened, I'm like, bro, just like Anderson Silva. I said it out loud to the group of people I was with. I'm like, dude, just like Silva. That's fucking crazy, dude. And it's insane because he doesn't even realize it happens until he pulls the foot back and tries to step on it. Which is the worst part. A lot of people, I remember people were saying, "No, dude, they felt that shit instant." I'm like, no, you watch that slow-mo replay, dude. He's chilling. He had no idea until he stepped back. And it was the first strike in the fight, Josh. They hadn't hit each other before that. There was nothing that had gone on before that. There was no exchange, no grappling exchange, no nothing. That was the first strike of the fight, man. And that is what happened from it. It is so sad. It is so sad. And honestly, Josh, I don't think we're going to see Chris Weidman again. Actually, I don't want to see Chris Weidman again, to be quite frank with you.
You know what? I'll go ahead and say this. I don't think we probably should see him in the octagon again. I do think he will. I think Chris Weidman he's one of those dudes. I think he's going to go through rehab, and I think he'll come back. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea. I mean, this is a dude that even, he talked about it before. He said he thought he had 4 fights in him. 4 fights left in him before the Uriah fight. But I think he's such a determined dude. You have to have an insane mindset to reach the peaks that he has. Former NCAA champion, former UFC champion. You got to have that insane mindset, dude. I do think he's gonna. I think he's gonna come back. We'll see what happens if he does. As for Uriah, man,
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
He's turning 37 this year. We know he's going to be out for another year. He's going to be 38. Next time we'll see him, he might be 39 years old, Josh, and we're going to be seeing a 39-year-old Chris Weidman with a neck fusion, a brand new leg essentially. Like, it's just, I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah, man, it's just it was just heartbreaking. It was a heartbreaking situation. But made history. Fastest UFC finish. First fight a UFC fighter has ever won without throwing a strike, which Dana glowingly posted on Instagram about. So, fair enough. But that was not the only leg injury that happened on the card. Anthony Smith opened with the main card. This one seemed like it was going to be fun. It was fun for all that it lasted for. He got a TKO win first round. Jimmy Crute. He kicked him. It was a very similar situation to Michael Chandler, Brent Primus. Kicked him in the dead dirt, and then nerve in his leg went dead. Crute just sliding all over the place. Couldn't continue. But shout out Anthony Smith, man. Getting back in the win column. We think it's next for that kid. I mean, he's a dude who you and I both picked against. He keeps on being the underdog, and yet he's still here, man. He's still in the top contenders of 205.
I mean, I'm sure they'll give him somebody who's ranked. I mean, he took that fight he picked up that fight because originally Jimmy Crute was supposed to fight. Was it Misha Cirkunov?
Yeah,
Who was it?
I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. So I don't know who they're going to give Anthony right now. See, the thing is, my issue is that there's a lot of guys I pick over him in the top, probably even 10. I don't know who they want to match him up against because I feel like that title shot's just really far away from him right now, dude. I really do. Like, he's a fun guy. He's a good guy. But I just don't know if I can. I don't think I imagine him challenging for the title again anytime soon.
See, I don't know, man. Just because 205 is pretty empty right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I like the division. Let me go and get that straight. I like a lot of dudes in that division, but it's like Rakic is 1 win away. I'd say. I mean, and then Glover's obviously getting the title shot. I'm going to say that. Maybe the winner of this fight this weekend, if it's Yuri, would be the title shot next, but not Reyes.
Uh-huh.
So it's a very weird situation in 205. So we're
Ankalaev too, dude. He's right there.
Ankalaev, yeah, he's the dark horse for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, man. As far as the rest of the card goes, is there any other fights you want to go ahead and point out before we move on to this weekend?
And let me pull up the card. I can't even remember any off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie to you. See, was there anything that really impressed me on that night? I mean, Brendan Allen, man, coming right back. I think he was coming off that loss against was it Sean Strickland? Am I right? Yep. After that KO loss against Sean Strickland, got the submission in the first round against Cora Roberson. Good way to do it, man. Get back on track. You'll love to see that.
Yeah, man. As far as the rest of the card goes, it was a straight up banger. You guys have always, I mean, if you guys listen to the show, I'm sure you're hardcore UFC fans. You guys watch the prelims. Nobody's there. Nobody is ever there for fight one up until, even prelim, probably ESPN prelims like fight or two before. You know what I mean? Fight before the main card starts up. That's when people start coming, which I've always thought is really, really stupid. If you're paying for tickets, you should always go. But whatever. That being said, though, man, fight one, packed house. Ariane Carnelosi, Nalang, I apologize for both the pronunciations of those names. Straight up banger from the immediate start. Fight after that, straight up banger again. Jeff Molina, Olathe Zone, Jeff Molina, defeating Quiling Ori. Banger of a fight of the night, by the way. And just, dude, up and down the card, insane fights. Obviously, Brendan Allen got a win, like you said. Randy Brown, dude. Randy Brown is going to turn into a fucking problem. Let me tell you this right now. This dude, I've been so impressed with his last couple fights. Ever since the Nico Price loss, dude. Knockout Brian Barberena, submitted Warley Alves. He's a great dude on the ground. He did lose to Vicente Luque, but that was a competitive fight for however long it lasted. I mean, it wasn't like he got ran over. And obviously Vicente Luque is the dark horse at welterweight right now. I mean, dude's in the top 5. But then he chokes out Alex Oliveira. Cowboy Oliveira, who's a bad motherfucker in his own right, chokes him out with a one-armed rear naked choke. Absolutely insane, dude. Shout out Randy Brown for getting into the win column. Great fight there. But, dude, now after all that going on, after all the insaneness of this past week, just an insane card, packed house. Is it a little bit weird now that we're going back to the Apex this Saturday? It's really strange now that we've kind of had fans back and all the pay-per-views moving forward. I mean, obviously next month there's going to be fans again, but dude, now going back to the Apex, nobody there. We'll preview the fights in a minute. Is that going to be like a little bit jarring for you? Because I mean, just thinking about it, dude, I'm significantly less excited for these Apex shows moving forward after having fans back again.
I don't know, dude. I fuck with the Apex shows. Honestly, I did like the change up, obviously, with the pay-per-views and having the fans there, because I did feel different, Josh. It really did.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, I like the. Let me rephrase. I like the Apex shows. It does feel less big though. I'm glad the pay-per-view is gonna have fans again, because dude, like for example, like moments like Francis Ngannou winning the title, that deserved a packed house. You know what I mean? For a fight this weekend, and especially the card after this, because I mean the card after this is, no offense, but it's Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez. So,
Josh, I'm really triggered about that card because obviously two fights fell out of that, But there's also a lot of other fights on that card that could arguably be the main event and co-main
Well, that's
event.
exactly it.
Not trying to be disrespectful, but it's just the truth.
I would have taken
Jeff Neal.
Actually, we'll talk about I want to talk about the Diego Sanchez situation because you just mentioned that fight fell out. But obviously Sandhagen Dillashaw fell out. But even then, dude, like Neil Magny is on that card. Jeff Neal is on that card. That's an insane fight right there, dude. I would have taken Cowboy versus Diego as the main event.
Well, dude, not even just that. I mean, Diego Ferreira, Gregor Gillespie.
Exactly.
Diego would be fighting potentially Tony Ferguson if he had beat Neal. And he's what? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th fight on the card from the last fight.
I don't know why we need to see. And here's the thing: is I like both Michelle Watson and Maria Rodriguez. Don't get it twisted. I like both of them, dude. And especially considering
There's names on here though.
She's coming off of a great win. But I don't need to see 5 rounds of that at all.
On short notice too.
On short notice, it is mind blowing that of all the fights, like there's so many other fights they could have put on there, dude. Like literally, I would have taken Angel Hill, Amanda Hebos over it, straight up, just because at least those two, I know the fight's going to be a lot more fun. Like it's Waterson, she's coming off of what is it? She did beat Hill last time out, but before that it was 2 losses in a row. I mean, Maria Rodriguez has only won 1 in a row. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's so disappointing. That card blows. But the one this weekend, all right. Before we get on the card this weekend, dude, have you been following this Diego Sanchez situation at all?
Gosh, dude, I might get tilted on the show.
You might what on the show?
I might get tilted on the show.
Get tilted on the show because I want to talk about it, dude. I've never been more upset about an MMA situation than the one right now with Diego.
I'll talk a little bit at the start. So a few days ago, I'm talking with Nate about this, right? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't think this is a good fight for Diego against Cowboy. But at the same time, they're both kind of on the same page as far as how their careers go. And Nate's like, dude, I don't know. I feel like Diego's issue is his coach. I'm like, do not fucking call him that. That is not a coach. Do not call that man a coach. He's not a fucking coach. And I was like, maybe he's the life coach. Actually, no. And then I said no. Actually, no, because you're fucking. Now I said this later on. Now I'm like, because your life coach doesn't want to ruin your life, so yeah. I can't even call him that now. The guy's a fucking maniac. Dude, that guy's running a fucking cult. I mean, look, let me tell you this. There's nothing wrong with being spiritual and it being part of your base or whatever you do. But that guy's on some weird shit. There's also some stuff I'm going to bring up off air that I can't say on here, some rumored shit, because I don't want to put anything out there that, I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that. And also it's just because, Diego's one of those guys that I really like, and maybe one day we can get him on here, and I don't want to say anything to offend him.
Yeah, and I'm going to preface everything I'm going to say by saying I love Diego Sanchez as a human. We were going to have him on the show at one point, but then some stuff fell through. And this is right around the time where he linked up with his coach.
Yeah, we could have saved him.
Yeah, well, I doubt it. But dude, yeah.
Josh, he would be better off having us in his corner. I think we'd be making better choices for him.
I mean, absolutely. Because guess what? I'm not gonna do shit like Shadow. Remember, like when you and I have talked before about his crazy comments, like in the corner, he doesn't do anything. Like he's so insane. And not only like. If you guys don't know, basically, to give some backstory, if you guys have not heard the situation, which I don't blame you, because Diego Sanchez, this is the most he's been talked about in a long time, just because he's not been doing well too lately in the UFC. But man, so his coach this past week, a video got released of him. The UFC and the commentators will have like these pre-fight meetings. They'll have like kind of interviews. They will kind of like talk to you about the fight, so on and so forth, with the commentators. Yeah, fighter meeting. And this one, it had Paul Felder was there because he was commentating the fight. Megan O'Leary was there. Angela Hill was there. They were working the broadcast. John Anik was there. And Diego's coach, quote unquote, crashes the meeting and basically starts going off on them. And it's just super unprofessional, just going off. He's done this before. He tried to confront Matt Serra, which he's lucky Matt Serra was in a good mood having breakfast, dude. Because if Matt Serra was like, if he wasn't 2 bites into a fucking egg sandwich, he would have beat his ass. And he keeps on getting lucky, dude. I mean, and Paul Felder, You could take the men out of Philly, but you can't take the Philly out of the man. He goes off at one point on him. He's like, man, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I'm just here to call the fights. I'm not sure who the fuck you're like, because Josh Faber is like getting in their face. Like, he's just yelling at him. The coach named Joshua Faber, he's just going at him. He's just yelling at him. And for some reason they thought this is a good thing to record. Like, yeah, this is really gonna get him. And here's a report that I actually heard. It's from Middle Easy, which is I know a couple dudes on the staff over there, great dudes, right? A report that I heard is that, and this actually lines up. Diego released a video yesterday where they wanted Diego's medical records from the UFC, and the UFC was like, "Why are you trying to go back and get all of his medical records? If there's something wrong with him, we can't let him fight." Is that what you're trying to basically? From what I heard, is that his coach wanted to get his medical records to find anything he could to basically sue the UFC for letting him fight. And they did this right next to his fight date. And basically they were recording conversations, basically trying to fuck with the UFC, try and sue him, basically. And that's just, he is such a scumbag of a person. And I have no problem saying this because, like, there's like coaches and there's people I disagree with on the show where I've talked about before, like I disagree with something they'll say. He's actually a terrible person. The fact that this dude has not gotten some street justice yet is just insane to me, especially because he lives in a world of fighters. Like, this dude's just a terrible person, and it's so depressing to see because Diego, he's a legitimately nice guy. He's just naive.
He's being manipulated.
He's literally being led by a cult leader, dude. I mean, it's. I'm sure this dude's taking Diego for everything he's got to, and that's just, it's fucked up. And yeah, this is gonna be. I mean, he ruined Diego's. This is gonna be Diego Sanchez's retirement fight. I mean, him against Cowboy. He campaigned for it for a long time. It was gonna be his final fight. Yeah. And then he fucked it up. I mean, Diego is a legend of the game, a literal Hall of Famer. He's already been inducted, and this is the way his career is ending, and it's just heartbreaking because he linked up with the wrong dude. So yeah, man, that's just depressing. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We'll talk about it off air. It's a really upsetting situation. To anybody who's followed Diego Sanchez's career at all, it's just it's fucked up. I mean, you and I have had laughs about it on the show because his coach is such a weird guy. But
it was never to this extent.
It's taken a dark turn. You know what I mean? I mean, I've heard concerning stuff. We'll talk about it off air. But I'm sure I've heard kind of concerning stuff like you have. That we'll talk about off air.
Well, I don't know if it's concerning, but just some interesting comments I heard. I'll put it like that.
Okay.
All right. I just don't want to put it out there here because I don't think they're true, and I don't want to offend anybody.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, we'll get into the card this weekend. I like this card a lot, honestly.
Dude, the main card's a fucking banger, dude. I like every single fight on the main card.
Dude, same here. It's an absolute banger of a card. Even the undercard, it's got some straight up awesome fights on there. But we'll go ahead and start off, my man. Main event: Dom Reyes, the uncrowned light heavyweight champion, lost his belt to Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, former champ.
Former champ. Obviously defeated John Jones, UFC 247. Lost the belt to Jan in his first defense, UFC 253. Making the return against Yuri Prochazka, former Ryzen champion. This man came in with a boom at UFC 251, his UFC debut, knocking out Volkan Oezdemir, first man to ever knock out Volkan, dude. That takes Volkan. Yeah, and I fucks with Volkan, dude. I'm a big fan of Volkan Oezdemir. And dude, he put him out cold. And it wasn't even close, really. Yeah, dude. Obviously, Dom looking to get back in the win column. This fight's very, very interesting for a lot of reasons, my man. But we'll go and throw it straight to you. Who do you got in the main event?
Oh, dude, I got Yuri, dude. This man's paid his dues already. Before he made it to UFC, he's already paid his dues. Dude, wins over Vadim Nemkov. He beat Carl Brexton. Dude, those guys were some tough.
King Mo.
Did lose to King Mo, but, some freak shit.
He got it back.
Though. Dude, this guy, when I saw him fight Volkan, dude, I was at the gym, funny enough. And the build, and I'm like, sometimes you can tell when a guy is fucking with someone. Dude, in that fight with Volkan, I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, he's just fucking with him. And in the second round, dude, he's just like, yeah, I got it. And he just fucking unleashes on this man, dude. It was some of the most, fucked up but badass shit I've seen out of anybody when they knew they could fuck him up so easily, dude. I'm taking the Czech Samurai on this given night, man. Look, I really like Dom Reyes, dude. I really fucking do, dude. He's such a fun guy. I like his personality. I like his fight style. But, dude, against this man right here, I don't think we would have pulled it out, man. And it breaks my heart, dude, because that's going to be, 3 in a row? But
3 in a row, yeah.
But, dude, that doesn't, and I feel bad for Dom because it doesn't tell his whole story, dude. And he was going through some shit in that last fight. I don't know if you saw that, Josh. He had his, they were doing that series. I forget what it was. Embedded?
Yeah.
He was kind of talking about that shit he was going through before that Jan Blachowicz fight. And, kind of everything leading up to it. Because he fought Jones before the pandemic, or before, I shouldn't say that, but before we locked down, because obviously COVID had already been around at that point. But we were, we didn't realize, the magnitude of the situation until a few months later.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sucks to say, because I'm a huge fan of Dom. I mean, I've made it very well known on this show how frustrated I was with the judging at UFC 247, because I think it's pretty much unanimously agreed outside of 3 judges in Texas that he defeated John Jones. But not only is he not going to get the shine from defeated John Jones, I think he's going to go back for his 3rd straight loss. I'm going to pick Yuri Prochazka, man. I think it's a really bad matchup for Dom. I would not be surprised if he wins. I think there's potential here for a, y'all must have forgot type performance from him.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome, dude. I mean, people like to really forget he has more than just the John Jones performance. He knocked out Weidman, made it look super easy. He beat Volkan. He dominated OSP at UFC 20. That was the first real time I looked at him like, damn, this kid might be future champ. I mean, he put it on OSP for 3 straight rounds. Mm-hmm. He beat the shit out of Jared Cannon, so on and so forth. But man, I think it's Yuri's time, man. I mean, like you said, dude, that Volkan fight, he was toying with him. Volkan is a bad dude, one of the hardest hitting dudes at 205, former title challenger, so on and so forth. He just beat Rakic. He just knocked out Latifi. He put it on him. He did not even make it look like there was even a challenge. And Yuri's a really big dude too. I'm gonna go Yuri, man. It's gonna be sad for me to see Dom Reyes pick up a 3rd straight L, but I think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna go ahead and take Yuri Prochazka in the main event. But dude, you said it before. This entire main card is a banger, but dude, this co-main event is it's the real main event. Let's be honest here. Giga Chisadaki taking on Cub Swanson. 14 versus 15 of the featherweight rankings. Winner here probably get the top 10, potentially even top 5 guy. The old vet coming in. Cub Swanson coming off the injury. He knocked out Daniel Pineda last time out. Beat the hell out of Chrome Gacy before that. Taking on Giga, dude, undefeated in the UFC. 5 straight wins, just coming off of a knockout win over Jamie Simmons in November. Dude, this fight has so much potential to be fight of the night. I'm very conflicted on it, but who do you got in the co-main?
Oh, dude, I've been going back and forth, but I'm taking Giga, dude. I really thought about picking Cub, but I think historically, Cub was always struggling against those taller, longer opponents. Granted, he's also lost to the shorter, kind of more compact guys like Frankie Edgar.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he'll give him trouble, man. And Giga got some good power, good stand-up, and hopefully he can use that reach well. Like you said, it has potential for fight of the night. I wouldn't be surprised if Cub comes out here and does his thing right. He has a lot of, rounds in him. He's fought a lot. His knowledge is ridiculous. I think he could, pull it out in a way where he's, like I said, like my favorite saying, one of my favorite sayings is he'll out-veteran him,
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what some guys do, dude. Maybe they're not necessarily at that moment in their peak, health and performance and their highest level, but just because they have that experience in that time, they can beat the guys without having to be at their highest level of their career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I also went back and forth on this a whole lot. I'm a big fan of Giga. I've been on the Giga chain for a long time on this show. But dude, I gotta go Cub, man. I'm gonna disagree with you for the first time, and I feel like I got a while on this show.
I can't hate, dude, because I thought about picking Cub too.
Yeah.
I think originally my first pick was Cub, but yeah, it's a hard one. I think any guy can win on either night, and I don't think we have an issue with either guy winning because I think in their next fight they'll put on a great performance.
For sure, man. And I don't know, man. I think this is gonna be an insane fight. I'm gonna go ahead and go Cub, man. I mean, you said he kind of struggles against the taller guys. I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I thought he beat Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos is kind of one of the bigger guys from 145. I thought he beat him. He did technically lose via split, but then, he knocked the shit out of Charles Oliveira a couple of years back, knocked him out cold. I mean, he's up and down against taller guys. But I do think Giga is relatively hittable. He's kind of it's easy to forget considering he's been having a couple of good fights in a row. But he came into the UFC and I thought he lost to Brandon Davis. He's had closest fights when he shouldn't have. Austin Springer choked him out in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Obviously, he has rebounded very, very nicely. But I feel like we haven't seen him against a guy of Cub Swanson's caliber yet, and I think Cub Swanson is going to out-veteran him. I think he's going to go and put on a show. I think it's going to be a very, very fun fight. I'm going to go and take Killer Cub, man. Very, very excited for that one, though, just because winner of that, dude, sky's the limit for that dude, for either one, honestly. Because Cub, he one final run for the title, and then if Giga wins, he's finally getting that big win he's been trying to get. But as far as the rest of the card, man, what fights do you kind of want to go ahead and highlight?
Like I said, dude, we could highlight the rest of the main card if we really wanted to. But the one I'm really excited for is Sean Strickland, Christoph Joko, dude. I talked I think last week with you off there about I'm a little sad that this fight's happening because I know that the winner of this will be fighting, or should at least be fighting, a ranked opponent. But I like both these guys. I think that might be a banger too. I think that could be banger of the night as well. I'm really excited for that matchup, man. I really like Sean Strickland. His campaign return has been nice and fun so far. He just needs that big win, and this is it. And hopefully they can give him a good ranked opponent, and he'll get back in the mix, man. Only losses are, was it Kamaru Usman? I think it's Santiago Ponzinibbio, and I can't think who the third one is too, off the top of my head. But yeah, really, really excited for that.
Yeah, man. That's going to be a banger right there. I got a lot of hope for Sean Strickland, man. His last two fights have been he has some of my favorite highlights of the pandemic, honestly. Just beating ass and talking shit, like in the Apex. Just absolutely insane, especially the Brendan Allen fight, dude. And Jack Marshman. That one was a lot of fun. Yeah, man. Shout out Sean Strickland. That's going to be an awesome fight right there. Marab against Cody Stamann is going to be a lot of fun. Ion Cutelaba coming back against Justin Jacoby should be a lot of fun. Brandon Marcos is back. Luke Sanders, Felipe Corrales. That's going to be a little underrated banger opening up the card. But then also, dude, I got to go Loma Lukunbi. I'm very, very high on this girl coming out of Thailand against Sam Hughes. I think she's going to put up just complete dominant performance. You guys should watch that one. She's coming off a win over Virginia Fry. So that one it's going to be a little fun fight. Just tucked away in the prelims there. But outside of that, man, that's pretty much all we got for MMA talk this week. Unless there's something I'm missing. But Angel, before we go ahead and talk about some NFL draft, before we talk about some boxing, I want to talk to you about just a friend of the show. Monkey Knife Fight, the daily fantasy sports gaming website for the casual sports fan that is simple, fun, and easy to play. Used to determine which superstars competing in the day's professional sporting events will record more or less than the contest line provided. Monkey Knife Fight's daily fantasy prop games play similar to salary cap-based daily fantasy sports games, but without the algorithms, lines, and most importantly, sharks. There are several contests to choose from, none of which require hours of research required on competing sites. Start with a simple 2-for-2 or go for the highest payouts, up to 100 times and higher, by selecting an 8-for-8 more or less contest. Get started now with a 100% instant match bonus up to $50 with code Courtside. That's for new depositors only. But outside of that, man, fun week for MMA. Very, very fun week. Fun next week as well. But, dude, the NFL, man, it's been a while since we touched on the NFL. And it's understandable just because there's not been a whole lot of news. It's been kind of a quiet free agency period, especially compared to last year, dude. But, my God, in the span of like 12 hours, we were hitting all of the big news, dude. We can go ahead and start off with the biggest news. And by the biggest news, I mean the meme news. I'm sitting there at work, man. I'm just doing my job, doing banking shit, as the industry insiders say. Whenever I find out Tim Tebow, I got the tweet on my phone, right? I got the tweet. I'm like, it popped up on my screen. It's like Tim Tebow gets tryout with Jags. I'm like, oh, that's strange, because not only has he been out of the league since 2015, and then I click on it, he's trying out as a tight end. This is my headliner. This is my biggest weird sports story of the year so far. It's the leading contender. So potential future tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tim Tebow, still has not been signed yet. However, they said they are considering it. Worth noting, the head coach of the Jags is his former college head coach, Urban Meyer, for the University of Florida. But dude, that was the fun news of the day. I thought that was hilarious. But then an hour or two later, Aaron Rodgers, reigning MVP, for my money, one of the most talented quarterbacks, arguably the GOAT, honestly. In terms of pure ability, he doesn't have the accolades, but in pure ability, I'd say arguably the GOAT. 3-time MVP, former Super Bowl champ, 9-time Pro Bowler, 3-time passer rating of the year, 3-time All-Pros, second team All-Pro multiple times, NFL All-Decade team, so on and so on and so on and so on. He says he's not coming back to the Packers. Obviously, the Packers and him have had a rift since, rather than, they were right there for making the Super Bowl last year. The year before they actually made the conference title game too. But they needed one or two more options. They decided to draft his replacement. Aaron Rodgers was 30, 35, 36, coming off an amazing season. They decided to draft his replacement, Jordan Love. Coming to next season, they get inches away from making the Super Bowl. It's so weird to think about, man, because they were one play call away, 2 play calls away from making the Super Bowl over the Bucs, dude. That's just an insane thing to think about, because we all forget it, considering how the Bucs ended up winning the Super Bowl in such a dominant fashion. Packers were right there, man. And they've done nothing really in free agency. The draft not going. They didn't really make any big moves in the draft over these last 2 days either. And he said that he's out, man. He's told teammates he's not coming back. He told free agency. He told GM he's not coming back. And Angel, I'm not sure if you heard this part of the news. I may be breaking this to you. Have you heard his number one trade destination?
I heard of some. Is it Denver?
It is Denver.
Holy shit! I'm on it, Josh. I'm on it, baby.
We may be looking at Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers twice a year. How does that make you feel?
Fuck it, man. It just goes to show, man. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter what kind of challenge the great King Patrick Mahomes has, dude. We see what he's done. Lamar Jackson's his son. Aaron Rodgers is about to be his second child here real soon.
Oh God, dude. Yeah,
it really is, dude. Dude, Josh. We defend. We live, in KC, right? We defend Patrick Mahomes because but the guy gets a fuck ton of unwanted hate for being kind of like, I'd say. I
don't know why you say it at all.
Like he's never been in any sort of controversy in the short time he's been in the league. He's a really nice guy. He's done a lot for the community here, and the guy's fucking good at football.
He's historically off to literally the greatest start of any quarterback ever.
But he's being made fun of, being called a fraud, being told that, it's his team that's around him. It's like, dude, it's not his fault. He was put in a good situation, and on top of that, he's also a good player. You know what I mean?
Nah, dude. Let's go ahead and remember something real quickly here. We had another Pro Bowl quarterback in Alex Smith, dude. And literally the same supporting cast, and we couldn't get past the divisional round. Mm-hmm. And Alex Smith is literally a multiple-time Pro Bowler, former first overall pick, so on and so forth. And I love the dude. It's like there's a reason why the Chiefs are having a lot of success. It's a lot because of Patrick Mahomes. Supporting cast is good too, but it's not like it's perfect. We saw it in the Super Bowl, dude. Like he has. I hate to go this way because I know that I think I made this point whenever the Super Bowl happened. But dude, the Bucs have one of the most stacked rosters of all time. But all I heard is how Mahomes is a fraud because he has 2 good dudes on his team. Mm-hmm. We have a good running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he's not game breaking. We have Kelsey and Hill, who are arguably the best of their position. But outside of that, offensive line is terrible. No real running game. He has a great head coach, but that's about it. I mean, we're just going to pretend that the Bucs don't have a fucking all-star team. We're just going to pretend like that this other team's better talent. Whatever, dude. But as for Aaron Rodgers, dude, oh my God. Of course he has to go to Denver, dude. Of course he has to go to Denver. Very strange to me that he does want to go there though, because I don't see. I mean, they're a good young team, but they're still multiple pieces away. They are very far. It's like they have the head coach Vic Fangio, who he probably should have been fired this past year. You can just look at the team down the line, dude. They got Hoist Freeman, he's pretty good. Melvin Gordon's pretty good. Jerry Jeudy has potential. Cortland Sutton has potential. But it's far from a complete team. So, and the defense is not very great anymore either. I mean, they got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, but that's kind of it. They're not from the old days, dude. It's very strange to me that that's his number one trade destination. But regardless, it is. So we could be looking at that. But then Angel, and then later that night we had the NFL draft, complete with 3 quarterbacks getting drafted in the 3 first picks. Kyle Pitts coming out of Florida, the highest drafted tight end of all time, going in number 4 to the Falcons. Obviously, the big story of the night was honestly just Justin Fields sliding. Everybody thought he might go number 2. He ends up going all the way to number 11, going to Chicago Bears, which, by the way, now have the most expensive quarterback route of all time. They have Andy Dalton, who they're paying $10 million a year to sit on the bench. They're paying Nick Foles $9 million to sit on the bench in 3rd string, and now they have Justin Fields. So yeah, that's fun. Devontae Smith to the Eagles, and so on and so forth, man. A very, very fun first day for the draft, man. Very, very fun first day. Mm-hmm. So as far as it goes, Angel, is there? I know you've been following. I know you've been keeping an eye on the NFL stuff. You said it yourself that you kind of you knew where Rodgers was going too. Was there anything you followed from the draft that kind of you wanted to pick up on or speak about?
I mean, we talked about it off air a little bit. But we gotta bring it up, man. Trevor Lawrence, man, him and his teammate getting drafted in the 1st round. They're going to Jacksonville together. Obviously, with the situation out there, it's kind of nice that he has someone there that he played with in college, and they play on the same side of the ball, and now he has them there. How do you feel about that, Josh? I know we talked about it off air, but as far as the team chemistry and kind of the pieces they already have there, how do you think he'll fold into the mix? And just your overall thoughts right there.
Man, good for those guys. I've never seen it ever happen. Maybe it's happened once throughout history, maybe twice, but 2 dudes from the same side of the ball going to the same team in the 1st round. That's just absolutely, that's borderline insane, dude. As for the Jags, they're a very boom or bust team. They're going to be really, really interesting to watch, especially first year. I mean, Lawrence coming in from college, obviously his running back also going along with him to a guy that's never coached in the NFL.
All the hype.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's one of the GOAT college coaches, but he never coached in the NFL at all. Just very, very interesting, dude. Very, very interesting. And now maybe they have Tim Tebow to the roster. So, shit, dude. It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Tim Tebow. Can you imagine?
Dude, just for the meme of it, I really hope he does. I really hope he does. Just because this is a dude who he honestly should have done the move years ago to the tight end position, but he was just stubborn and wanted to play QB. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, though.
And then I didn't ask you this off air, but I want to ask you now that we're on air. Is there any team that you're kind of disappointed in that they didn't draft a certain position that they needed to draft and didn't do it? At least at the start of the 1st round? Or someone you could have seen available there. I know you don't keep up with every single prospect or everything, but you're kind of really 1st round and you're lacking this or missing that.
Yeah, I got one in my head. I have no idea why Dallas drafted Micah Parsons. He's a linebacker. And yeah, Dallas' defense is terrible. I'll go and give them that. Their defense is absolute trash. Absolutely one of the worst in the league. But if I were to go ahead and take a look at that team's biggest issue, it is absolutely the O-line. They're making Ezekiel Elliott, who's arguably the best running back in the league, they're making him look like complete trash. Last year they were terrible. Obviously, Dak went down because of O-line injuries, and now they're out drafting a linebacker who, to my knowledge, that's not one of their top positional needs. I mean, I know Sean Lee just retired, but still, I mean, that was a very strange pickup to me.
That's what's up. And then along with that, who is your favorite pickup out of this? We were like, oh, that's kind of fun. I didn't think about that, but hey, I like it. It fits well, and it makes sense. Or, you're kind of curious to see what happens there.
Devontae Smith, dude. Devontae Smith to the Eagles. Great move. Great move, dude. They don't have a whole lot of wide receiver options. I know D-Jax just left too. They don't got a whole lot there. Not a whole lot on the offensive side of the ball. They got a good running back room. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, but overall pretty meh. So I'm a big fan of that pickup there, right there, dude. I think that's a great move by them to pick up Devontae. I'm also very I'm kind of surprised he fell all the way to 10. I'm especially surprised that his teammate Jalen Waddle went over him. But still, nice pickup by them, dude. Very, very. I think that one's going to be a great move for them.
I like it, Josh. I like it. And I'm really excited to talk to you when the season starts about some of these guys. And honestly, watching Trevor Lawrence's first game, I'm really curious about it. Because we talked about it probably like a month ago before the draft happened, how we've been knowing about Trevor Lawrence for a fat-ass minute now.
Literally, I mean, he was the most. I mean, even going into college, I mean, the dude never lost a single game. And somebody pointed out something, an interesting stat on Twitter. If he loses in the NFL in his first, like for example, whenever he loses his first regular season game, that'll be the first time he's ever lost a regular season game going back to middle school.
That's some Kareem shit, dude.
That is. He never lost a regular season game in high school or in college. Not a single one. Only in the playoffs or the championship game.
Actually, it's not even so Kareem shit. It is Kareem shit.
It is, absolutely, dude. It is insane. That's even a statistic, but it is, dude. I mean, that's fucking crazy. That is literally insane. And I can't wait to see how he develops, dude, just because I've heard of this kid for so long. I think it's going to be interesting. I think Urban Meyer's system is a good one for him, but I'm not sure if his system will translate over to the NFL. Some dudes, college coaches just don't translate over, but if it's worth the risk, I'll go and give him that.
Hey, man, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, man, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that team. But, man, last two topics of the day. We got some heavyweight boxing pay-per-views going down, my man. One of them is pay-per-view only for the UK, but nonetheless, we'll start off the one which is happening earlier in the day. Derek Chisora taking on Joseph Parker, my man. Obviously, Chisora coming off of the loss to Usyk. I thought that was a really, really fun fight last year, happening in the Matchroom bubble, and he's taking on Joseph Parker, known. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that because I'm not sure if that's confirmed yet. Never mind. Joseph Parker, former champ. Obviously, he's won 4 in a row after he did lose to Joshua, then got outpointed by Dillian White. 4 in a row coming off. His last one in Junior FA back in February of this year. This is for some WBO title. Of course it is. Who do you got the edge for in this one? And is this more anticipated than the other heavyweight matchup of the day?
I think they're about even, dude. They're both got not to talk about the other one too much right now, but they're both kind of like, I should say, fights they should win, without a doubt. You know what I mean? Joseph Parker should beat Derek Chisora, in my opinion, here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and say this. Well, actually, so obviously next fight up is Ruiz Arreola, which is pay-per-view for us for some. Who the fuck put that on pay-per-view? But I'll go ahead and ask this. Both of these fights, heavy favorites in. Obviously, Ruiz has lost 50 pounds. He came in at a slim 255, man. He looked in great shape.
He looks smaller than that.
Yeah, dude. He looked great.
That's lean muscle right there.
Exactly, dude. And obviously, he's a massive favorite. Chris Arreola, I like the dude a lot. He's never been in a boring fight, but he's 40 now. He said himself he was going to retire after his last loss. He didn't. Obviously, Derek Chisora is older now, taking on Joseph Parker, young, hungry lion. Which of these two fights both seemingly appear to be extremely lopsided? Gun to your head, which one do you have more interest in this weekend?
I got Arreola Ruiz. I think maybe like Arreola could come out and like put on a banger, on the night of.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna go same, dude. I think however long that one goes, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Stylistically, though, that's why.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Chris Arreola is just coming off of one of my favorite heavyweight fights ever, against Adam Kownacki, literally the most strikes ever thrown in a heavyweight boxing match. They combined for, what's the exact amount, man? It was like 2,000 or something. It was something insane. That fight was awesome back in 2019. But, dude, he's 40 now. He did come in the lightest he's ever have. He came in at 228. Both of these dudes coming in at career lows, 255 for Ruiz and obviously 228 for Arreola. I think this has potential to be really, really fun. I don't know why it's on pay-per-view, but shit, man, it seems to be fun at least. But
Yeah, I mean, there's stories going both into it, right? Obviously, like you said, Parker, stringing the wins together, trying to get back into that championship position. The the younger of the top guys right now, he's 29 years old. I'm sure he'll be turning 30 soon, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, and then Andy, dude, new camp, right, with Eddie Reynoso. They slimmed him down. They're like, I'm assuming the whole idea is like, hey, your hands are good, you know, let's add mobility to that. Let's make you even quicker. Let's see what you're capable of. We'll see what they did. Obviously, this opponent's kind of like to see where he's at, gauge where he's at, because this is his first fight with the camp of Eddie Reynoso, and obviously Andy's not far from being in a championship position again. Because he held the world title. He is the first Mexican heavyweight champ. Uh, he holds that over, and he's the only man to beat Anthony Joshua at this point in time. There's no man on this planet who can say that outside of him right now. It's an honor. They went, they fought each other twice, and honestly, I want to see the trilogy at some point because we have this new reinvented Andy. I'm curious to see what happens.
And I'll go ahead and say this: he did get outpointed in the second fight. I do think if he was in shape, it'd be a lot different. I mean, even himself, he weighed in at 283 for that one. He's like, yeah, I didn't eat for 4 days. I dehydrated. He basically cut weight to get down to 283, like, which is just insane. He was like, yeah, I was 305 on fight night, which borderline insane that he was able to go 12 rounds like that. But yeah, man, he got outpointed in the second fight. But I still think he's one of the worst matchups for Joshua. I mean, dude, Joshua coming into the clinch, he's one of the worst dudes. Like, you ever watch him try to clinch? It's just like it's pretty bad. And Ruiz, he's a shorter guy, he's a compact guy, very fast hands, heavy hands. I still think, like, if they had a trilogy with Ruiz in shape, I'd pick Ruiz, honestly.
And also, you and me have never been the highest on Joshua, to be honest with you.
That's very true.
And it's not to disrespect the guy. And I already know, man, if we had some English fans out there, we know the English people who are watching us right now, they fucking hate us. But it's just the truth, bro. It really is. There's a lot of guys out there who I think could put up a good performance against Joshua. And Joshua's a great athlete, dude. Don't get me wrong. But there's just a lot of guys I could see him losing to. Or not a lot of guys, but at the peak, there's guys I think could beat him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, granted, I probably would have picked Wilder over him before the Fury rematch. Now, Fury put a beating on him, so I'm not sure how he'll return. So I don't know if I'd pick him over him now.
He's getting ready, man. You seen the videos?
I have seen the videos, and I'm very, very excited for it. Dude, I want to see. Now, let's go ahead and say this real quickly. From what I heard, this fight was originally supposed to be Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz, but then I guess Ruiz's team didn't want it. They wanted more of kind of like just a layup for him to kind of get back into the swing of things. He's had 2 years off, so on and so forth. So that's why he's fighting Arreola. What I would like to see next is Ruiz fuck the Ortiz thing. I like Luis Ortiz, but he's past his best, dude. I don't need to see him fight. We know what he is at this point. I want to see Ruiz against Deontay Wilder next, dude. I maybe Wilder gets a can or something. Maybe just some sort of a layup. Maybe give him Charles Martin or something, the dude. But I want to see
Hunter.
I want to see him. I want to see Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz next, because that is such an interesting stylistic matchup. I don't know who I'd pick in that one.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good one. I don't know, dude. I'd be a big fan of Andy Usyk, dude, because they're both smaller guys, compact. Obviously, the hands are good there.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun at heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a lot of fun. Overall, though, dude, coming out of this weekend, there's gonna be a lot of fun fights for Andy Ruiz. We'll see if he can get past Chris Arreola. Arreola, dude, he comes to bang. I don't think he has much of a chance, but we'll see.
Yep.
But outside of that, man, is there anything else you want to touch on before we go ahead and close out?
Not right now. I mean, there's other fights going on that I don't want to get into too much detail about. But dude, as far as the coming weeks, dude, I mean, we got bangers on the way. We got
many bangers, dude. I mean, it is May 1st, dude. Within the next month, we're going to see, obviously, Michael Chandler and Nate Diaz on UFC 262, not fighting each other. I could have said that a lot better. But, dude, we have that fight going on. We have other title fights going on just in the MMA space. I mean, obviously Yoel Romero got canceled, but we're still going to see Rumble Johnson return. We're going to see Sergio Pettis coming back in Bellator, dude. On boxing side of things, we're going to go ahead and get Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders is going to be amazing. Obviously, Teofimo's coming up. The GOAT, Logan Paul, is taking on some scrub Floyd Mayweather.
Devin Haney's fighting.
Devin Haney's fighting, dude.
Linares.
Who else is... Yeah, isn't Gervonta coming back soon, too?
Yeah, maybe? Probably.
I believe so. I think he's fighting June 26th, maybe. Unless I'm confusing him with somebody else.
I don't know. Probably. Let's go with a yes.
Anyways, it's bangers all around. Bangers all around, my guy. But yeah, man. Outside of that, though, that's it for this week. We hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the late upload. Stuff on my end. But outside of that, if you guys enjoyed, I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at @_01 at Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the show, peace and butt grease. Mouse click.